Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. And I absolutely love that quote, and the quote made me think to ask in the Facebook group some of the questions that people were holding in their lives, and the responses were overwhelming, and I thought I'd just read a couple of them. I've summarized a couple to kind of group together multiple ones, but they're things like this. Will my health condition come back? Should I stay in the relationship I'm in, or should I leave? Will I always be single? What's the point of it all? How do I find peace within? I particularly like this one. How do I find the energy to do good if doing good takes so much energy? What is my deathbed regret really going to be? After 10 years of chronic illness that took away my career and dreams of a family, what is my purpose now? Now, I don't propose to have the answers to perhaps any of these questions, but I have a couple thoughts about living the questions in our lives, and I think we all are all of the time, because the future is essentially unknowable. We don't know what's coming. But there's a few things that I think are interesting if we look at questions, and one of them is that they almost always point to the future, not to the present moment, not to where we are now. So questions are, by their very nature, they are thought experiments more than they are experiences of living today. And that's kind of what Rilke is getting at, I think, is that you live in the uncertainty today, but the key is to live it, to be alive today, not to always be wondering what tomorrow is going to look like. And we spend a lot of our time either fearing or waiting for or planning for the future. And I am as guilty as anyone of this. I think my major thought pattern is one of a planner. Right? It's my brain is always planning what's going to happen next. Then I'll do this, and then what if we did this, and well, we could think about doing that, and it just goes on and on and on. And so it's all a way of pulling me away from the present moment. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks like being in the present moment is the only purpose in life, right? Thinking towards the future, planning, anticipating, correcting, all these things are very important. But if you're anything like me, I do that about 95% more than I need to. That's the primary way my brain works. Instead of it being the occasional I'm planning and most of the time I'm present to what's happening, it's almost exactly the opposite. Most of the time I'm planning or thinking about the future, and only a little bit am I actually present. And then there's that idea of, for me, it's the I'll be happy when this thing happens. And that's another variation that runs itself through these questions. It's the I will be happy when X day comes. And so it's back to this idea of loving the questions and living the questions, living right in the uncertainty that we are in today, and not knowing what's coming and not basing everything we have on what's going to happen in the future, but to be here now. There's another thing that this makes me think of, and being okay with not knowing, whether it be what's going to happen in the future or not knowing answers to certain questions. As humans, we are not very good at this. We don't like uncertainty, and further, we've been taught through an educational system that we should know the answer. And so not only are these questions concerning because the outcome of them has a direct impact on us, we also don't like it because we feel like we should know the answer. This question of should I stay in my relationship or go is a classic one, right? I've been in that position, and I realized that a lot of the pain that I felt in that position was the fact that I was always pressuring myself that I should know the answer. I should be able to figure this out. And I would get very down on myself because I didn't know the answer. And the reason I didn't know the answer is because these questions are hard. All the ones I read are very difficult. It's hard to know what the right answer is in a lot of cases. And it makes me think of this idea of being okay with questions. It makes me think of the Buddhist teacher Suzuki, who says, in the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's there are few. And so some of these questions, there are many, many possibilities in them, and we don't have to figure them out today. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes, to mess it up. We are still learning. We are still walking the path at any point. This is all part of the process of becoming, of living, of being humans in the world today. So I encourage you, questions are great, but I encourage you to relax into the questions and allow your life to proceed and allow yourself to be in your life and live your life, even if you don't have, and probably don't have, the answers today. Life can still be wonderful right where it is without figuring it all out.